Hello, everybody. Just gonna give a reaction to yesterday's disappointing game. And to be fair, probably a little bit of a reaction to the disappointing um, period that the side have been through since the return of the World Cup. Um, Yesterday's game was poor. Crystal Palace was poor. Um, the United result I can kind of understand, but the performance wasn't overly great. Again, at Chelsea, sloppy defending and not an overly great performance. The performances aren't there, personally. I don't think the performances are there. I don't think the World Cup break has actually helped us. I think there was a bit of momentum build up towards the end of the before the break of the World Cup, um, and we haven't been able to kickstart um, back when the restart started. I mean, the big one for me is really the Crystal Palace one. Um, they are a bit of a bogey team of ours, but you expect a better performance. Um, and the two goals we gave away against Palace, schoolboy errors. Um, schoolboy errors. Um, you look at yesterday, and it took an error by Burnley for us to get back into the game. Um, you can see why Burnley are top of the Championship, and with ourselves being in the Championship last year and the year before, you can tell how difficult the Championship is. But for them to be 14 points ahead or whatever it is, you know, you can see why. They're a totally different Burnley side. They're not the same old Burnley. I was quite impressed with the football they've played. I watched them play Swansea recently, and watching that, I could tell yesterday's game wasn't going to be easy, but you do expect a better performance, and the performances are not there. I think in terms of the defending is terrible. A lot of the fans obviously on Kelly's back yesterday, but when you come on, I can see why. Um, you know, he does seem to be, to me, the same player. Um, is he still struggling with fitness? I mean, his head doesn't seem to be in it. And as your captain, for me, yesterday, he's obviously been come on to G the side up, and you could say it's a communication error for the goal. But for me, as a defender, he should have done more in that position. It's just my opinion. The player's gone through on goal. It's a communication error. But for me, Kelly should, as a defender, should have done more. The Burnley player just went past Kelly like going past a baby. So for me, I mean, firstly, I think if I was in Gary O'Neill's position, I'd be praying for Neto to come back ASAP, because Neto's got the experience, commands the area. I'd bring Mepham back in alongside Marco Sensei. And I mean, a lot of people don't rate Mepham. I myself, I thought at the beginning of the season he'd probably be a bit of a squad player this year, but when Kelly was out injured, I thought Mepham really put in some good performances. So for me, I'd put him back in. I'd possibly, even maybe when Fredericks is back, put Smithy into left back, and bring Fredericks back in as well, because I feel that Fredericks did make a real good contribution towards the beginning of the season when he was fit, and I think his attributes will really help us. In terms of playing squad, we need players. I mean, it's evident. I mean, the squad, is that squad going to keep us up? That's what you got to ask yourself. I think there's too much pressure on Solanke for goals. I don't think we're playing to Moore's strength. I love Kiefer Moore, but I don't think we're playing to his strengths. So we do need to bring in, I reckon, another out-and-out striker, someone that takes the pressure off Solanke and Moore a little bit. I think we definitely need to bring another centre back in if we can. Obviously, there's a situation with Lerma. Obviously, it doesn't look like he's going to stay and sign a new contract, which is really disappointing. Because Lerma has been a good fixture within our team over the last sort of 5 years. So yeah, it is a disappointing period for us. Gary O'Neill. Now, I'll put my hands up. I was one of the ones that said, yeah, let's give him a job, let's give him a chance. We've always been a club that's given managers their first chances over the years. You look back at Redknapp, he had his first break in management with us. Tony Pulis, Sean O'Driscoll, of course, Eddie Howe, all managers that have gone on to have successful careers. So, it was a case of, he's come in, he turned around a 9-0 defeat, by keeping a clean sheet against Wolves. He built on from there, had a good bit of momentum, picked up some decent results. I was like, yeah, let's give the guy a chance. Is he falling tactically short? I would say possibly he is now. But then again, who do we bring in? That's something that, if Bill Foley does make the decision, who does he, Neil Blake and Richard Hughes bring in to take charge of the team? That's the big question for me. It'd be a difficult decision to make. I think personally the next 3 league games are vital. Obviously we go to Brentford next week. Even without Ivan Toney, I mean, Brentford have been picking up some really, really good results. And in fairness to Brentford, they deserve to be where they are at the moment. Yes, they lost in the cup yesterday, but the cup's the cup. You sometimes have a good run. Sometimes you don't. You get lucky. Sometimes you don't. And they didn't yesterday. But I mean, the way they've been playing in the league lately has been, really impressive. Then we got Forest at home. That has got to be 3 points. If we don't get 3 points from that, we're going to be in big trouble, I think. Forest are obviously in and around. They're going to be wanting to pull themselves out. Obviously, they had a 4-1 defeat yesterday away at Blackpool, which is pretty embarrassing. So they're definitely going to want to turn that around as quick as possible. It's tricky. I think these next 2 games could be vital. I think if we don't get 3 points at least out of these next 2 games, I think Mr. Foley might pull the trigger, which is a shame, because I've backed O'Neill and I still back him while he's in charge. I'll be backing him, I'll be supporting him, but the performances haven't been good enough, and I put my hands up to it. I was one of the fans that thought, give the guy a go, and of course people look at it as the cheaper option, but then who is out there? I've heard a couple of names like Ronald Koeman, for example. I mean, are we going to get someone in like that? And if we do get someone in, what signings are we going to make? Are we going to make signings before we bring someone else in, or are they going to, or is Foley and Blake going to make the decision so someone else can maybe have their own targets they want to bring in? It's the January transfer window is always never easy. Obviously, last season we had a good transfer window in January. Probably the best transfer window in January we've probably ever had. But that's not going to happen this season. I can't see us signing that amount of players. But then again, who knows? You know, the club's always been one that's kept its transfer dealings close to its chest. So you never know. But we've got to sign some players quick. And let's just hope we can turn it around. But yeah, overall, it's been a disappointing restart for the Cherries. But all we can do now really is stay behind them, and while we're at the games, be as vocal as we can. And let's just hope Gary can turn it around. So I don't really think Bill and Neil and Richard will be giving him too much longer. But yeah, up the Cherries in all departments. Let's keep the faith. Let's get behind the boys. I know it's very difficult because the performances are poor. They are really poor. Let's get stuck in and stay behind the boys and up the Cherries in all departments.